Hello. Testing. Now, I sillily scheduled a show for 2 p.m. on Savon's show, on Savon's network, stupidly during Crash Weekend. Now, I should have known better. However, my excuse is that I don't really pay too much attention to the sport and fitness racing. So that's my excuse. However, I thought rather than detract from there, I would go live on here. Hello, sir. How are you? Keeping it real writes first. Jethro Cardona says, "Whoa, just me." Heidi writes, "Hello, babe." Hello. Am I okay? Is my I'm getting a bit of a lag on here. Good morning, Trish. Trish says, "Hello, old friends and young friends." On my screen, I'm getting a bit of a lag. It looks like I'm really rubbish signal. Now, anyway, like I was saying, my excuse for coming over here is that I had no idea there was an event on, really. I knew that Crash was on, but I didn't really know when it was on, what it was, that kind of stuff. Hello, Kenneth. Kenneth Delap writes, "Yo." So, yeah, I can't have a show tomorrow because I'm a little bit tied up tomorrow. I've got all lots of things. I've got a new class starting tomorrow. Oh, sorry, class. Got a new class starting tomorrow of over 60s, which should be fun. 21 60-plus-year-olds have signed up for a class. Oh, kinky. So that should be fun. It should be good. Mixed abilities. It'll be a challenge for me as a coach, but I'm looking forward to it. Pressure's off them quite a lot. Pressure's on me. Do you know what I mean? A little tied up. Keeping It Real says, amazing. So in terms of like your typical gym demographic, you don't tend to get too many classes that are chock-a-block with 60-year-olds. You get the odd one. I think typically you'd get one or two in each class, maybe at a maximum. But yeah, we've got 21 60-plus-year-olds coming in. Some of them have got walking canes. Some of them are fairly active but don't do any strength training. So it's going to be a cool thing. And me and my mate Kev, who's physio, we're running the class together. So we're going to give them takeaways. But if it works well and they're happy to do it, we're going to do a weekly class, maybe 2 a week. This all stemmed from my dad being a numpty and falling over about 3 weeks ago. Chipped his tooth, broke his hand, smashed his knee up, his good knee, smashed that up. And cut his face open because he wasn't able to lift his knee up very high, and he scuffed his foot on a step in public, and he smashed his face open whilst holding shopping bags. So that all came about from my father, who's got parkies. So I thought, well, let's do something about it, shall we? Rather than just moan and complain about shit. Keeping It Real writes, I wasn't able to go to CrossFit yesterday, so I went for a run a mile at 7 p.m. Okay. And what time did you get? Let's see. I was at a 5:25 going into last lap and quit. I didn't want to have to go fast just to get up to a 7:05. Okay. Good. Right. So my show was called The Lost Boys. Hello, Craig. Hope you're doing well. Getting ready for the storms. Trish is getting ready. Is that an actual weather storm or storms of a mental variety? Let us know. Heidi writes, I also ran a 5-minute mile. That's good. I've done no running at all in preparation for Jon and I's High Rocks. So that should be good. Got an excuse. Got a get out of jail free card. I didn't do any running, but we'll see. It's all good. I was lazy at the gym. Yesterday, I did a 5K, Grant, you'll like this, 5K row straight into, 2-minute rest, a 5K ski. So I did 5K row, 5K ski. Good morning, Sean Roddy. Hope you're well. Without the rain, there is no rainbow. People say it's just big pair of tits. Dolly Parton, isn't it? If you want the rainbow, you got to put up with the rain. Whoever Lorraine is. But yeah, 5K row, 5K ski with a minute rest in the middle. The row was 19 something, and that ski was 18 something. So yes. Do you intentionally, Heidi writes, do you intentionally not run so that you can give yourself an out? No, what I've done is I'm using it as an example of how you can just do CrossFit training, style training without putting in the miles into running and get a relatively decent experience out of it. Because from my experience from coaching high rocks and being at a gym where people do high rocks is they fucking bury themselves with running training and forget about all the other shit that they should be doing. So I've gone the other way. And so I'm hoping to prove a point there. And if I don't prove a point, I can just not do high rocks ever again. They're a lot more, they're a lot more CrossFit than fucking 5K runs every day. Load of shit. My threshold is 12 minutes. Yeah, because you go too fast. Sub 20 is not hard. It's a 2-minute split. It's nice and easy. Keep to 155 and you're at a decent pace. But yeah. So yeah, there we go. But anyway, so yeah, Horrocks is coming up on Thursday. Should be fun. Should be exotic in Birmingham. I know the Americans say ham. We say hum. Ham and hum. Birmingham, Alabama. Birmingham. That's how they say it when they're from Birmingham. On the topic of Dolly Parton, you have a nice set, Jake. Glorious dips. Oh, thanks, Sean. Much appreciated. Yeah, but it doesn't need to be this. So one of my bugbears in the gym is watching people row and ski and use the machines really badly. You can make it so much easier for yourself, being more efficient, nice and steady. So before I go into, I've got a load of notes. So it's just like it was me with my notes app on my phone, right? Driving my car, going talk about discuss So all my notes begin with talk about or discuss. We've got quite a few bits and pieces that I'm going to talk about, but there is one thing that I'd like to bring up. It's my only link that I'd like to show you today. Let's get rid of that thing. Keeping it real, right? So I'm getting fat and stronger, 6 pound bench is going out. Good, perfect. That's all you want. There are people at the High Rocks who look like they have never rode it. Yeah, it's abysmal. Like you could. I was very, very fortunate with my early CrossFit days where I was around professional rowers. And then my gym in Eton, if you don't know where Eton is, look up Eton College. It's basically Hogwarts, set up in the late 15th century. So 1470, I think it was around then. It was set up by the Henry VI or Richard III. Can't remember. Because it's very, very close to Windsor Castle. And he wanted somewhere where the Earl and Lord's sons would go to college, set up their houses. And from there, it's basically a town all built around a college. Anyway, it's the world premier boys' college across the globe. People coming from around the world. And my gym was down the road from it. It's on the Thames, and there's a massive rowing community. So much so that the London 2012 Olympics, the rowing was based at Dorney, which is at Eton. Anyway, I had 3 housemasters that were head of rowing at Eton, members of my gym. And so every now and again, they would give a rowing workshop and they would coach rowing basically in the gym. So all my members at the gym learned exactly how to row properly. So whenever I go to gyms or I see people rowing abysmally, it shocks me that there isn't that education out there, because it's such a simple thing to gain. It's such a simple thing to write. It basically is, which was funny, Sean, because I came from about 10 miles away and quite working class. And then I had to work within and with some of the most elite families and people on earth. And it was a very different experience for me I think I said this before. Jeffrey, I just read that. I don't know. I haven't set it up, so not for today. I'm sorry that says that there. It shouldn't be on there. Let me just hang on. No, how do I get rid of it? If I go there, and then if I go, no, fuck's sake. All right. I can't get rid of it. I'm so sorry. I can't get rid of it. Actually, if I go there and then I go there, no, oh, Jesus. Hang on, I need to get rid of it. Oh, now look, like, just ignore the phone number. I think I said this story before, but I was teaching one of the kids. So I say kids, they were 14. Thank you, Jethro. Thank you. Yes, the call was great. 14-year-old class, and they came into the gym and they were training for a just S&C. So I was doing deadlifts with them and power cleans and single leg work. And as per the request of the coach, talking to them, and I said, "What are you training for?" And they said, "A school trip, a sports trip." And for me, having grown up 10 miles down the road, and 10 years prior, probably more than that, a sports trip for me would have been a maximum an hour's coach, like a bus, school bus sort of thing, an hour away to play a different school at a sport, like a rugby or a football, soccer or cricket or something, or athletics trip. Now, I said to them, and they said that they were on a polo trip to Mongolia. And that, for me, that moment will forever be embedded in my mind. You think Mongolia on a polo trip as opposed to an hour bus drive away to play a soccer or rugby match. It's a little bit of a different world. But yeah, it was good. Anyway, can't remember the point. Anyway, so yes, I was going to pull this up, wasn't I? So let me just share screen. Just a quick one for the coaches in here. Now, I really, 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 really love what CrossFit have done with the socials the last couple of weeks and what they're intending on doing with Chase going over to the game stuff. And the reason I like it is because if you're into the game stuff, if you're into fitness racing, if you're into the sport of fitness racing and you want to absorb more information officially coming from CrossFit, you now have the opportunity to do that on a weekly show with Chase and guests, and you know where to go for it. What that does in my mind is it frees up the CrossFit YouTube webpage for the rest of us. So coaches, box members, people that are wanting to understand about training rather than testing. So that's the way that I see it. I see training and testing as two different things. So the testing is a sport. The training is what we do, what I'm obsessed with. And it's not wrong, you know, but it's so damn cool. The conversations we've been having on the podcast, on the CrossFit weekly call with Denise is mostly doing it. James Hobart's jumping on a lot of it. Seth Page was on it the other day. Castro jumped on. It was a really good conversation, and weekly, it's great. It's such a cool conversation to be having, and it's so nice to hear it from the guys at the top and to hear what they're saying. Anyway, what I just pulled up here is, I don't know if you guys know this. We've signed up, but you can sign up to it. There's a weekly email that goes out from CrossFit about coaching. So anyone that is a coach or a trainer can sign up for it. I don't think you even have to be one, but you can sign up for it. And there's also a daily email from CrossFit with the workout of the day on it, from main site, and a bit of information. But this week's coaching one included this, which is a 4-week coaching development plan. So if you're a gym owner or an affiliate owner and you're after a coaching development plan, here is what CrossFit's recommended. And it's all outlined. It's all broken down. It's all step by step, what you need to be doing, bonus points about what you're looking after. If you want top tier coaches to be able to develop at your gym, it's all written down here. And you've got links on here how to set up coaching space to optimize command and control. It's all available and it's free of charge, and it's all on here. And this even furthermore plays into this question of, well, what affiliates getting? They're getting this extra now. They're getting all this extra information. And Eric O'Connor, who wrote this, was on the show with Denise think it might have been Tuesday evening. There was 2 this week. There was one on Tuesday and one on Thursday. But this one was so cool, and it was really, really nice to see. So I'm really loving the content that they're putting out at the moment. So fair play to them. Why am I little again? There I am. Did you see the course? Yes, I did. Did you see the course Denise Thomas opened up yesterday only for 10 people? I did, and I think it's newly qualified L1s that can apply for it or go on. Denise is going to be one of these people that has not flown under the radar, but like we know who she is. If you've been a coach for a little while and you go over there, you're gonna know who she is clearly. She's a level 5. She's a very, very, very influential and decent coach, but she's one of those people that I feel should be spoken about a lot more at CrossFit and within the world of CrossFit. And she doesn't, and that's fine. You know, it's not necessary, but I think we're missing out on a lot of really good ideas and discussion points. And she's such a lovely lady as well. So I think seeing more of her on the CrossFit YouTube channel is really important, and it's going to be really good for a lot of coaches to pick up on that. And it helps that she's English. Jake, do you remember 2 times Tuesdays? 2 times Tuesday at Domino's. 2 times Tuesday. No, I don't remember that. Yes, I saw it after it was 8 hours old. I wish I could have got in there. Just cool. Okay, well, I'm sure she'll do another one, or someone else will do one. But again, like CrossFit's, we think of CrossFit as this big thing, and it is. It's bigger than your local kind of independent gym, but it's still relatively small. And a lot of these coaches, a lot of people are just really cool people that if you reach out and you ask for help, a lot of them will help and they'll find ways. Or if they can't, they'll direct you to the other people that can. There's so many good coaches out there, which is really cool. And this is why I want to promote them more, and I want to talk about it more, and I want to get involved with coaching a lot more. It's a real passion of mine, and it's one of the values that I really, or one of the thinking points that came out of Coaches Congress for me was to focus more on the coaching, and get involved however I can with that. People want to get involved with media. They want to get involved with promotion of competition. They want to get involved with more athletes. That's fucking brilliant. That's what we need. And we do need that, like the crash thing this weekend. But I want to get involved with coaching. I want to get involved with affiliates. I want to get involved with that kind of discussion. And there's room for all of it. And it's really important that we have all of it, because that's what CrossFit is. It is all of it. So I'm no good at the sports stuff. I'm no good at the fitness racing stuff. I'm useless at coaching it quickly. Morning, Megan. Hope you're well. But what I really am passionate about and love talking about and getting involved with and having an opinion on is the gym floor coaching and the affiliate stuff. It's my bread and butter and I love it. So I'm hoping to get more involved with that kind of stuff. And I appreciate it's boring. It's not the big numbers. It's not the big views, but it's what I like doing. So I will push for more towards that. So Megan, let us know what you did. Let us know what your workout was, please. Okay, I'm not going to go into this too much, this first point, because I know that you guys are CrossFitters, and I know that it's very boring, and I know that I could go on forever talking about it, but had a few questions this week. I put an ad out. Heidi Kroom contributes and adds value by saying, yes, Jakey, we know. Cool. Okay. So discuss what programming for powerlifting and weightlifting will look like. So I put out a thing on Instagram the other day saying about coaching opportunities, and I want to get involved more with coaching and taking on people. Powerlifting and weightlifting programming will probably ring a few bells and be familiar when you go on to a training cycle, because a lot of CrossFit gyms and methodologies, well, I say methodologies, a lot of coach gyms and houses that program like Sentinel, like Mayhem, like Proven, like HWPO, they will employ traditional weightlifting and powerlifting cycles within their programming. So That's what that might look like. However, I'll give you an example. Janimal, the Janimal, just won world champs last weekend in the M2. Her last 8-week cycle. Heidi, let us know when you're going to begin. Thanks. 8-week cycle, because we only had 8 weeks from when she competed in weightlifting and won the British champs as that as well. It started off with blocks of 5. Typically, you'd have an S, a B, a D, and an SBD session. So squat, bench, and deadlift. Each week, 4 sessions heavy. You do not need any more than 4 sessions a week if you're a heavy powerlifter. There's a guy called Ray Williams, who's the US heavyweight lifter. He's very, very, very good. He's the heavyweight champion of the world. He will go in, and his sessions sometimes are 2 by 2. So 2 sets of 2 reps. That's his entire session for the day. But when you're putting that much force through the body, you understand why, which is why in CrossFit sessions, I don't know if you've ever done like a 10 rep max or a 12 rep max or whatever. The thing is, that has its massive benefits, obviously, for CrossFit. But what you'll find is if you've got powerlifters in there and it'll be like a 10 rep max, it won't be a true reflection of percentage wise of what they're doing. If you're a power athlete, those higher rep ranges are going to be further and further away from your RRM. However, the 2s and 3s are going to be significantly heavier, which is why when you get a slow twitch person coming in and they're squatting or bench pressing or deadlifting, they're going to be able to rep. Sam Briggs was a very good example of this. Rep out 90% for 10 reps. Any higher than 95%, and it goes and it veers off massively, and then nowhere near the top end compared to others. But for CrossFit, for that muscular endurance side, for high rep ranges, is cool. Which is why it was so damn good. And from a programming perspective, to see the 1RM back squat at the games this year was really fucking cool. But yeah, so your powerlifting training cycle, typically between 8 to 16 weeks, depending on what time you've got. But yeah, so you'd begin a 12 to 16 week cycle with about hypertrophy, so muscle and bodybuilding. You're getting a broad base, getting heavier with the, getting a massive amount of DOMs. And as you would filter down towards your competition day, you obviously want a 2-week taper with full-on powerlifting. The final week before you do your lift, you'll be at nowhere near 50. You'd be below between 30 and 50% for your lifts, just going through the motions, recovery, nutrition, hydration, looking at body weight and tapering down. The second week before you lift would be that tapering week, but where you're testing. So you'd see where you're at for 90, 95% for a singles or potentially doubles, depending on where you're at through the year. But leading up to those last 2 weeks from a 12 to 16 week cycle, you're basically pyramid. You're filtering down numbers, upping the percentage range, but training less. You're getting less volume time. So you're going down to 4 sessions a week rather than 5 or 6 because you are unable to physically recover and put that much sheer force through your body. Same with weightlifting. Anyway, Jake, if you could only have 1 rep range on all 3 of your lifts for the rest of your life, what would you choose? For me, it's 3 by 3. I'll be pretty heavy but strong. So yeah, so that's a great question, Shawnee boy. See, if you ask me for an answer right now, it would be 3. But for me, it would be a 7 by 3. So 7 sets of 3 reps. I think having the ability to recover at the higher percentage ranges is important enough for me where I want some longevity in there. I don't want to necessarily, because 3 by 3 is fucking heavy and that's great. But having a few more sets in the bank there would be more conducive with what I would consider to be fitness rather than power. But that's just me, just where I'm at the moment. Blah, 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 blah. Seeing starts at 10 RM back squats. But yeah. So anyway, there we go. And it's funny because I'm currently... I've got 7 online clients at the moment. And I've got Kelly, who's training for an Ironman. I've got Ross, who's a downhill mountain biker. I've got Ruth, who is training for powerlifting competition novice in February. I've got Helen, that's a powerlifter. I've got Janet, that's a world champ powerlifter. Who else have I got? I've got Max, who's a young lad coming through. I've got Daniel, who's a young man coming through. I've got Tom, who's a bodybuilder. I've got Muzzy, who is a bodybuilder as well. So I've got a mixture of people. I don't tend to do programming on one-on-ones for CrossFit, because my belief, my honest belief, is that if you're going to coach CrossFit and you're going to train CrossFit, it should be a class environment. I don't really tend to program one-on-one stuff for CrossFit. I've battled with that in the past, but I think I stand firm by, if you are doing CrossFit, it should be in the class environment. And there's plenty of other people that you can go to for programming for CrossFit, obviously. But yeah, I'd rather send someone, which I have done a lot in the past. I've had people that are with me for PT or for programming online, and they like the idea of CrossFit and they get nice and strong and fit and healthy. So I will say goodbye to them and send them on to an affiliate, because for me, that's what CrossFit is. It's not training on your own in the corner, doing your own programming because you're Billy Big Bollocks and you think you want to do a competition next month. That's, for me, it's not my forte. It's not what I do. But there's plenty of other people that will offer that and be very good at it. I'm not. I'd rather, if I programmed, have a program for many, many people rather than just one person. But there we go. I got an email and my results from my DNA testing came back. Ooh. So I have got a call early this week, and then we will go live with the guys from the DNA testing company that are going to come on. I had a good chat with them at Coaches Congress. They were there, and it's going to be amazing. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to get my excuses in. Yeah. You found out my secret. Years. So that's that. That'll be coming hopefully tail end of next week. Like I said, I won't be able to do, well, Jon and I might be able to do a show. Actually, we will. We do a Wednesday night show this week. So because we'll both be in Birmingham for our high rocks. But yeah, so my poster that I constructed for the show before I transferred it over to this channel, I was talking to someone about the iPad the other day and the tablet for kids, and I know I've said this 1,000 times before. We got rid of the tablets. Mr. David Weed, how are you, sir? Hope you're well. I want live videos of you running the high rocks. Do you know what? I think, look, I'm not going to tell you that I'm fucking like Hunter McIntyre, right? Or Paula Radcliffe or Mo Farah or any of the runners. But I'm okay at running. I'm not terrible at running. I played football, soccer, from the age of 4 until 30. Like, I played consistently pretty much every week, constantly. It was my sport growing up. Whenever a running comes up in a workout, I will do it. I don't shy away from it, and I'm fine with it. I keep up with people. So yes, high rocks is going to be a very, very different thing. But if you said to me right now, go and run a 5K, I would easily be able to do a 5K. Easy under 30 minutes. I'd probably be nearer to 25 minutes, but I don't enjoy it. And I don't do it because of that. But yeah, there we go. Yeah, Jon's going to be right. Jon's going to be shouting at me the whole time saying, I told you you should have fucking done some running. And that's okay. That's okay. Hello, Spear. Hope you're well. Just dropping in. Kids foot match going well. Really. Yeah, exactly. Sabir knows best. Yeah, Sean, I think that's probably going to be the case. Sean Lenderman writes, you'll do great most of the race, Jake. I just think towards the end, your heart rate is going to go pretty uncontrollable. Exactly. It will be the case. Sean Roddy writes, strange. I see a lot of similarities between you. Yeah, me and Mo go way back. We're basically the same. Although I didn't get, I'm pretty sure he was smuggled into the UK and then lived in a flat with people he didn't really know and had a horrible upbringing, but athletics saved him. So same as me, but without the horrible upbringing, athletics, and being black. So we're pretty much the same. But yeah, so I think the end of that workout, the Pyrox workout, will be a higher heart rate piece. And I think that's probably because I don't know about you. And again, it might be very fucking different. We're probably going to be in the hour and a half mark, I'd imagine. Let's just go with that. Between 120 and 130. I think I've got no point of reference. I'm just guessing there. But I'd imagine after the hour mark, it would suck. I did an hour on the bike erg the other day, 1,000 calories. I've been doing hour workouts twice a week, pretty intense. So the first one last week, this week was Monday. No, it's Sunday. I did 2-minute intervals, and I've said this 1,000 times. 2 minutes to do a 500 row, 2 minutes to do a 500 ski, 2 minutes to do 1,000 bike. And I did that for an hour. So I did a 5K, 10K in total. And I did that in the hour, and I was fine. It was tough, but the last 20 minutes did get a bit tasty with the heart rate. But I'm more than happy to put up with a bit of heart rate discomfort. So not a problem. I think it will be, I'd imagine it'll be the 7th and 8th runs will be where my heart explodes. But again, the good thing about the running, you just fucking slow down. Like it's not the end of the world. So hopefully that'll be the case. But if pacing's done right, which I'm fairly good at pacing these days, never used to be. But when I was a kid, I mean, football matches were always the first half, I'd die a death. But then playing centre mid, you sort of learn after a few years you have to pace yourself. And yes, I was a centre midfielder. But yeah, iPads and tablets for kids. We got rid of ours where they're in the loft, or the attic, as you guys say. They're in the loft. They've been in there for about 7 weeks now. And so fucking happy we did it. The kids don't miss them. They're not natural. They're not normal. You don't rely on them. They supply nothing other than a distraction for parents to be able to just veg their kids out and, keep them in the corner quiet whilst you want to concentrate on your work. Getting rid of that, it has been challenging. It has been tough sometimes. You do have to think a little bit more. But as a homeschooler, and I'm sure Kenneth will know this because he's the homeschooler in the chat that I've seen. Some of you might do it as well. But you do become very, very good at finding things to do for your kids and eating up some time and finding things to do. So getting rid of the iPad was very, very good idea. And I was talking to this with someone the other day, and we were talking about the fact that when you watch a video or watch a film, and you compare that to reading a book or doing the work yourself, when you read words and you have to figure out, and your brain has to actually work and construct and be creative and think for itself. When you're watching video, your brain is being given the end result. So you're an observer. You're not actually doing much in your brain. You're just taking in information rather than actually processing and being creative and thinking. You're not developing that thought pattern and that creative process. So that's the difference between if you read a book and then you watch a film. Now, I'm not saying don't watch films, because I do all the time. But for the kids, it's made a massive difference with when they're reading. And that's been the difference. And so we saw a kid at a restaurant a couple of weeks ago, and this kid must have been, anything from a year old to 2 years old. I know I'm about to have my third kid, but I still don't know. That gap between 12 months and 24 months is, I can't tell how old they are. Somewhere in the gap there. And it's sat in a high chair in a restaurant holding a fucking iPad. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're setting that kid up for fucking a real bad time with his attention span, with symptoms of other neurological shit that people just label now. Again, we're not going to name them. But it got me thinking. If you think about the film Hook, right? We were watching Hook and the Lost Boys. There's that scene with the Lost Boys, and when Robin Williams as Peter Pan gets there and he's sat there and they're all eating from these bowls and they're eating and it's invisible food, it's pretend food, and he's just like going, "What the fuck? Like you lot are eating nothing." Then over the course of the film, there's that scene where all of a sudden his imagination switches on, and then he sees the food, and then he can enjoy the food and be part of one of them, right? And I was thinking about like perception and you have to believe something and you have to be creative initially to be able to see the value of something. And I thought about this when I was watching that. I was thinking if those boys were sat around with iPads, would they have seen that food, that invisible food? Probably not. So yeah, that was just the thought I'd had, and that was what that poster was when I came up with that with Chat GPT. So that was fun, which does get you thinking about other shit, right? So the stories that we tell ourselves that food isn't real, that food is not real, right? It's not real. It's not really there. But they're imagining it to be real, and it gives them comfort. It gives them nourishment. It gives them whatever they need. They're bonding, community. They're doing that, but it's all rubbish. It's not real. It's all bullshit. But when we're watching it, we're happy for them. And that reminds me of a few other things that we could talk about where these stories or these imaginations where people believe it and they believe it to be real, and it gives them this comfort. It makes them feel part of something, or it makes them feel special, or whatever. No one can tell them they're wrong. You can't tell them they're wrong. You can't tell them to stop doing it. It's what they believe and they think, and they get value from it and purpose, which is great. But there's the question. Would you rather be Peter Pan before he sees it or after he thinks he's seeing it? That's the question that I'd ask to ask you. We've got a bit of circular masturbation going on in the chat. Love it. Love to see that. Well done, everyone. So yeah, so that's that. Yeah, I've got something there. It doesn't make sense. Morning, Jeffers. Hope you're well. Hello. Jeffrey Birchall writes, morning. Jon is busy today. He works like me. I've just finished work and raced back from picking my daughter up from acting school to jump on. But yeah, Jon's busy and he's with his son today and his wife to be. But yeah, he's all right. He's good. What was I going to say? Yeah. So how often is it, right? How often is it that you see or hear people acknowledging that they have agreed or agree with different groups of people that are opposing? So, i.e., less dogma, so less dogmatic approach. So you might find someone that says, like, I agree with the Democrats on their policy on, I don't know, social welfare or whatever, like on healthcare, but I agree with the Republicans on this. How often do you guys, I'm not involved in this, so this is a genuine question. How often do you find that in the US that you get people that honestly do that, that honestly be impartial and they think for themselves and they're not dogmatic and they don't just throw themselves. Good morning, Adam. Hope you're well. They don't just throw themselves into one of these camps and vehemently just do whatever that camp says is right without fact checking and thinking about the other side too often. Well, that's one way of putting it, David. Party cucks. That is one way. I'm not, yeah. And we get it in the UK. We have historically, and this was what got me thinking, historically, we did have that in the UK. We had Labour and Tory. And it was, but we have it sort of the other way around. So Tory or the Conservative Party are the blue party, Labour the red. The red are the working class. They're Labour. They're, you know, coal miners that hate Thatcher, and then you've got the Tories that are the kind of upper middle people that love tax breaks for the rich. But again, that's slapping a label on people. Now, with the new party that's come up, Reform, I feel like there's a bridge gap there, and I think the last 5 or 6 years or so, especially in the UK, you've got this ability for people that is definitely growing. It's not there yet, but you're getting a lot of people saying, well, these people are shit, but these people are shit. So therefore, I like this idea. I hate these people for this reason. I hate people for this reason. There's a lot more discernment going on, which I like. However, what it has meant is that everyone hates both of them. And you're left with a big pile of shit. And the only option really left is the new party, Reform UK, that are offering a totally different style of stuff. So it's opened up the door anyway. And I think I've seen a lot of polls to suggest that if there was a snap election today or tomorrow, whatever the term is, that Reform would get in by a landslide, which would be the equivalent, by the way, to the Americans of a brand new party getting established and coming into power in the US. It's the equivalent, obviously on a smaller scale. But we've had those two parties in power since fucking time began, like 400 or 500 years. Well, not actually, but you know, long time. But yeah, it's an interesting political landscape at the moment, and it is on the bounce back. I saw a thing yesterday from one of the US colleges saying that the amount of people identifying as non-binary has halved in the last sort of 6 months or something like that. Hello, Vidish. Hope you're well. One part of one party has ruined that. Okay. I do not vote party line. Cool. Sean Lenman writes, Jeremy, both parties are equally as bad as they do the exact same shit and point at the other corner and the other one out America. So, and the older you get, the more I would hope the more you realize that. Like, and you think about your grandparents, like my grandparents, one side of them were really fucking like labor through and through, and the other side didn't really care much because they saw through the bullshit, but they were both working class, like both sides of the family. But it makes me think, like, the internet, social media, everyone, the ability to just post shit all the time, that has completely fucking changed politics, or the theory of politics. Whether or not it's actually changed much is another thing, but we've got the ability to see through shit. And Sean, yeah, Megan, Sean, that's a great description. It's very, very true. That Spider-Man meme where people are pointing and all that kind of shit. Yeah. Sean Roddy writes, Jake, did you see anything about a presidential election in Ireland that's taking place next week? So, Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, and I think I'm right in saying you have to be voted or agreed upon by the current government officials to be able to then run for the top spot, which is why Conor McGregor isn't allowed to, or he pulled out because it was clear that he wouldn't be allowed to be voted in, which is completely undemocratic. That is what I've heard from Conor McGregor. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know any more about it than that. Oh, it is correct. Yeah. So the current system, the current leaders, so the government, have to agree and approve you as a candidate to be able to run. So the reason they haven't approved him is because they know clearly that he would win by a landslide. So what he's saying is there has to be a better way of system to be able to, because in that case, not everyone can run and it's not democratic. Well, yeah, there is always that. Yeah. So, yeah. But it's been the same in the UK, right? And we have, what's the word I'm looking for? We have a bit less drama with politics in the UK. It's not as kind of circus Like, we don't have like fireworks and flyovers when people get voted in. There's not balloon parties and all that sort of shit. It's very boring and dull. However, the whole thing, the whole political system is the same pretty much as yours, where not the system, that the way that they play it, the politic, and it disgusts me. But they spend so much of their time trying to put down the other people rather than actually fucking doing anything or talking about what they're going to do, that they waste half their fucking time. Nothing gets done because they're constantly just trying to put the other people down. How refreshing would it be if one of them came in and they were like, do you know what? We're going to get cracking. I'm not going to bother talking about how shit the other people are. I'm not going to keep putting them down. It's just a waste of time. Let's go. Let's get after it. Everyone would be like, what? Yeah, let's go. And and I think that's why decent people don't go into politics in the end, because decent people would do that and it wouldn't fall into party line, which is why they go independent and then they get nowhere. Olivia, imagine shutting down the government. I still don't understand that. I don't get what happens there. I think I do. Ord was trying to tell me why there's no planes at a fucking air show that she's at. The civil servants don't get paid because the government can't agree on a budget, so no one gets paid, so everything shuts down. Is that effectively it? Red tie, blue tie, they all eat the same pie. Yep, exactly. And the thing is, we know all this. We know all of it. We talk about it. We put it on social media. People fucking repost shit and yay. But let's be honest. Let's be fucking honest, right? Let's be really fucking clear here. You reposting something on Instagram and going, yeah, when it's about politics is exactly the same fucking thing as walking down a street in your city with a flag saying, free this country. You're doing exactly the same thing, except you're doing it from the comfort of your own home. You're not actually fucking, it might tickle your nutsack. It might make you feel like you're special and doing something. Yay, I'm a politician. You're not getting involved with politics by sharing shit on Instagram. You're not a fucking radical political commentator. You're just fucking posting shit online. It does nothing. It doesn't action anything. If you want to properly go after shit, you've got to go out and do shit. Like, and the people that are walking around with the Hamas flags in London saying free Palestine, like, go to Palestine, go to Israel, go away, go and actually have some impact. You're doing nothing walking around here, nothing. Repost. This is why the Democrats aren't blah, blah, blah. This is why Donald Trump shouldn't be. It's like, fuck me. Like, it's just boring. It does nothing. You feel like you're doing something. You're not. You're having no contribution. You're doing nothing. And it might make you feel special or make you feel really cool and part of a gang and part of a tribe so that other people like it and go, yeah. But it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. Like, you're contributing nothing. And it's exactly the same thing as people walking around with flags. It's exactly the same thing. But people are unable to discern between the two because it's their tribe that are doing it. And it makes them feel really cool and special. Anyway, I'll get off my horse. It's quite high. What's this? My husband is working as an investigator, working a huge case involving the ATF, American Tennis Federation. I don't know what that is. They aren't getting paid. It's so bad. They have been working overtime and they're not getting paid. It's insane. Virtually, yeah, but and this is the thing, right, Sean? So over the last few years, people have slapped the label of virtue signaling on the left, on the left side, and say virtue signalers are all the people on the left. My point is, is that people do it on the right a lot, hell of a lot, but they don't realize it. It's because they feel like they're the powerful ones that have got the boy in the office. They feel like they're the ones that are right, but they're just virtue signaling as well. They're doing the same shit, but just because it's for a different reason, they think it's different, and it's not. No, David, I'm not talking about Savon. I'm talking about many fucking people. And it's a reason why I don't do anything online about politics. It's futile. It's absolutely futile. Alcohol, tobacco, and fire. Right. Okay. I didn't even know that was a fucking thing. Are they an organization? Don't know. Next point. Guys, it's going to be a long show. I'm only a third of the way through the points. Hopefully I don't conflict with Crash too much. I don't think I will be, but discuss the difference between the pursuit of money and the pursuit of things and places that money can buy. Yeah, so I've got a good mate called G, who's a lad. Me and him have a lot of fun around the fact that he loves money and he loves the pursuit of money and he loves bling and he loves fucking this, that, and the other. His wedding, he was like 200 grand and all this shit. My wedding cost tops about 4 grand and we did it on a budget and we had a lovely time. He's done very well for himself, very well for his family, and he's a really good mate of mine. But we have very, very, very different way of seeing life. The lenses that we see it through is all very different. And when I told him I was moving to the Isle of Man and the type of lifestyle, we agreed. It wasn't conducive with his way of life. We're very, very different people. Anyway, the difference between the pursuit of money and the pursuit of things that they get. If you're constantly chasing money rather than what it can get you, I think you're on the wrong track. Because that's futile. So we need to align our values of kind of the seeing money as a tool. Let's talk hogs and titties. Hogs and titties. We will do in a bit. We'll do in a bit, I promise. I had a really, really good question thing the other day, and I've heard it before, and I don't know where. It might have been on Savon. It might have been somewhere else. I heard it somewhere before, but might have been Chris. What's his name? Williams or whatever his name is. The guy that was on Love Island that's now got 1 million people following him on for being a philosopher. The perm. I heard this the other day about rather than asking your kid what they want to be when they're older, asking them what problem they want to change in the world. So rather than asking your kid what they want to be when they're older, asking them what problem they want to change or want to fix when they're older. Totally different way of looking at shit. I quite liked it. I haven't asked my kids that yet, but I'm going to. They might say something like, the hedge in the back garden needs trimming. And so I think they need to think bigger than that. But it'd be an interesting thing. Slightly different way of proposing, a life ahead of them rather than, because what you want to be changes all the time. Yeah. So last night, Donnie had jiu-jitsu. And it's getting dark now in the evenings. And we left jiu-jitsu and my daughter was in oh really? He's been sacked, has he? Oh good. That's all right. Yeah, but Sean, I can only imagine what a dumb answer I would have had. But it definitely makes you think differently. Like even now, like if I said to you, Sean, what problem in the world do you want to fix rather than what do you want to be doing in 5 years? It's just a different way of framing, I guess. Chelsea. It is a great way to frame it, and I really liked it, Adam. I really liked it when they said that, and it made me think. Like, and it's a different way for the kids to think about their future. Like, what problem do you want to fix? What a cool way of thinking, eh? Anyway, yeah. So we came out of jiu-jitsu. We're walking down. It's getting dark. We're walking down this like fucking 15th century market high street. The smell of like chimney, from fucking fireplaces wafting through. Got the sound of the seagulls. I could hear the seaside. I was like, right, we're gonna get you a meal deal from Tesco. I was like, right, okay, for his tea, he deserved it. So we went into Tesco, but I don't know if you guys have this in the US, but like imagine going into Walmart, a small little Walmart. We got a little Tesco, very British term. Like a small convenience store, and they'll do like a meal deal, right? So it'll be like there's a whole section of like sandwiches and baguettes and rolls and shit, and you can pick one of them. You can have a snack and a drink, and it's like $3.99, and you get one of each. You pick, you can choose which one you want. Anyway, Donnie is 6, and he goes, right, what's the healthiest sandwich there? And I was like, well, there's a sourdough Manx cheddar cheese roll there. He's like, right, I'll have that. And then he looks over, and his snack that he chose was 2 hard-boiled eggs. I was like, what? Like, I'd have had the fucking dairy milk, I'll be honest. But yeah, 2 hard-boiled eggs. And the drinks, they got like juices and cartons and Cokes and all that stuff. And he said, a protein shake. And there's a little bottle of protein. So my 6-year-old boy is sat there choosing a sourdough cheese roll, 2 boiled eggs, and a protein shake for dinner. It's like the influence you can have, eh? But he did it all. It's his choice. But yeah, 2 hard-boiled eggs. But the problem with that, Adam, right? Problem with that is they fucking stink, right? And so we got in the car and he opened them, and I had to drive down to the front. We were down on the quay in the seaside, near the sea. And he had to eat them outside. We had to go out and sit outside. I did not want those fucking eggs in my car. They fucking stink. Yeah, there we go. David knows. I'm pretty sure Boots were the OGs of the meal deal. Now, where's that picture? Now, I want to show you a picture. Really creepy picture. So, if it ever fucking opens. I'm swearing a lot today. I can only apologise for my foul mouth. So yeah, if this shit thing works, oh well, it will open in a minute. It's being gay. Sean writes, I'm back on ground beef and eggs. Lovely. You do that as well. My wife started eating eggs and tuna. It's disgusting. Filthy rubbish. Hate it. Right, I'm going to close WhatsApp because it's being gay. I need to... Oh, there we go. Right, I can get it here. Hang on. So, anyway, we went down to the front and we sat opposite the castle. Or castle. And downloads. There we go. So I'm going to show you a picture. Show you a picture. So we were sat opposite this castle. Whatever comes up. There we go. So we were sat opposite this castle. There's like an estuary between. This castle's well over 1,000 years old, by the way. And then I looked over, like, if you look on the right-hand side, up on the pointy bit on the right, which is an old cathedral piece, there should have been a wooden roof there. There was a fucking massive heron just plonked itself right on there. And do you ever have those moments where it's a real surreal moment? I was like, right, I'm sat opposite an old Viking castle. My 6-year-old lad is eating hard boiled eggs, and there's a heron sat there. It was one of those weird, like, what has my life come to? This is so weird. But yeah, it was one of those moments. But yeah, I hope you can see it. Yeah, we just sat there and ate, and he had his eggs out in the cold. It wasn't too cold, but he had that. But yeah, at the top right of that castle, on the point where where the roof should be. Yeah, so I just took that because no one else would believe me. Oh, I said there was a fucking heron on the castle. But yeah, there you go. Eels. So that's that. How do I get my picture back to where it was? There we go. Thanks a bit. Yeah. Yeah, we just drove down. Again, it was nice walking out of the jiu-jitsu club down the high street. It's an old medieval high street. The smell of like chimney smoke, the sound of the sea, dark lights everywhere, like, street lights. It was just nice walking with my little boy who's growing up quite quickly. But heels. So I don't know if anyone here is going to Rogue, but Steve at Defiant is going to be selling a load of Travis's stuff, Vindicate work stuff. So that's going to be really cool. Loads and loads of people are going from the UK scene, which is awesome. Me and Jon are going to have a superb time. And T-Lander is going to be there. Zoolander is going to be there doing like a behind the scenes thing or something or other. So yeah, it'll be cool. Looking forward to that. What next? Nah, that's about it really. Cool. I've done all my notes. Obviously the lads and ladesses are all at Crash. Everyone's there. Well, I'm not. Jon's not, but yeah. Sean Lenderman writes, here in Arkansas, it just smells like smoke every day as the farmers are burning off all their fields post-harvest. Oh, okay, I see. So where I used to live, every now and again, we would get the smell of chocolate. And the reason for that was that the Mars factory, so Mars bars, they used to make like Bounties, Twix, Mars, Galaxy, all that kind of stuff. The factory where they used to make it was about 5 miles away. Every now and again, you'd get the smell drifting over. It was lovely. It was lovely. I wonder who paid Peter to go across. Don't know. Good question. I hope he has a lovely time. But yeah, do you know what? I really do want to lean into the coaching and the affiliate stuff. And I'm trying to piece together what that would look like. And I know it's not going to be fancy. I know it's not going to be sexy stuff. It's not going to be the most desired kind of bit. Oh, here we go. Sean Roddy writes, Jake, bit of unsolicited advice. Rogue, bring your own food, the event, unless you want fried fast food. M&S close by for a real meal deal, oh, yes. Sean knows. M&S meal deals. So here's the thing, Sean Roddy. My family are all coming. So my kids and my very pregnant wife are coming along. We're staying at a hotel just a mile away. We're driving up from the Isle of Man. So I know you're all desperate to see the drive. Let's go maps. Let me show you. Let me show you. Let's have a looky. Right, so I'm there. No, I'm not. In here. I live in Foxtel. So here. That's where I am. Zoom out. Isle of Man. Zoom out. Ireland on the left. Scotland on the north. Scotland's up here. Northern Ireland's here. Southern Ireland's there. Well, Ireland. England's over here. Wales is down here. So you've got Wales at the bottom, Scotland at the top, England on the east, Ireland on the west. Anyway, our boat goes across from here, Douglas, across to here. We then are driving from where it says Blackpool here, near Blackpool. We're driving all the way up. Oh, no. Past Carlisle, up to Glasgow, up through Stirling, all the way up. We're going through the Highlands. No, we're not. We're going across to Dundee. Then we're going all the way across and we end up in Aberdeen. So we're going from the Isle of Man. We're driving up all the way through to Aberdeen. It's about a 5 or 6 hour drive, but we're going to take our time. We're doing that from Thursday morning. And then, so my point being is we're going to stop off and we've got a hotel, like an Airbnb thing with a kitchen. So we're going to cook our own food and have our own lunches and everything packed and everything ready to go. On the way back, we're driving all the way back down to the Lake District. And we are going to, this is where Sean should live. Sean, I think you need to move there. So yeah. What's Sean saying? How do I go? Oh, this fucking screen shit. How do I? There we go. Wish I could go to Rogue. Maybe. You never know. Maybe if you play your cards right. But yeah, so we go to Centre Parks, and anyone in the UK that knows Centre Parks will know it's very expensive. But we've got it half price because we're going in school time because we homeschool and we can save. All right, Sean, let's go for it. Sean Enderman writes, I wish I could go to Rogue. Maybe I will suck up to Dents, get back in the good graces of Savant, start making videos, and Biomax will buy me a plane ticket for Rogue this year. Potentially, Sean. So give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. Jeremy World writes, Sean, you really take Scornholm to another level. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, that's our trip for Rogue. We're really looking forward to it. And yeah, we'll be able to, my point is that we're going to go to a supermarket before we get to the hotel. So we're stocked up, ready to go. And then we'll do the same before we go to Centre Parks. But yeah, all good. Anyway, just gone over the hour. I'm sure, should we have a look at YouTube? YouTube. That's how you guys say it, isn't it? Tube. That's it. YouTube. Oh, I heard that there's an American guy that's living in the UK, right? And he does these videos of like differences and things like that. And apparently, you lot say on accident instead of by accident. I'm going to turn on something now. It might come on loud. Hang on. There we go. On accident. Spent about 200 quid in Nando's. Is it the only place that you can go with half decent food? Forgot what I was talking about now. What a colony. We say, but yeah, that was it. So this guy's talking it through and he looked it up and he found out and he realized that grammatically, like on accident, when you say on something, it means intentional. Which is why we say on purpose. So on purpose, that's how we say it. We say on purpose because you purposefully did something. You meant to do it. But by saying on accident, it means you did something accidentally on purpose. That's why we say by accident. It happened. So yeah, just yeah, he was pretty cool. This guy, I followed him, so I might speak to him, because he's into the gym and stuff. He's a Texan living in London. He's in mid-50s, I think. He's got a very good beard, and he's into the gym and stuff. So it'd be pretty cool to have him on. I think I might ask him if he wants to come on. He's got like 20,000 followers on Instagram as well, which is good for him, I guess. Yeah. Cool. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day. And what I was about to say was that this is on at the moment. Oh, no, hang on. Why isn't it coming up? No, not wanting to come up. Oh, well. Well, apparently my screen... Oh, there we go. Look at that, eh? Lovely. Savon's live. Been on for a few minutes now with Crash. Who's that in the overalls? That's not one of ours, is it? Hey, there's a few of them. I don't know this guy with the beard. I don't know the black guy, and I don't know the person with the overalls on. How strange! I thought I knew everyone in the media. Anyway, that's enough about that. Let me back on. There we go. Right, good. Hello, John. We on? We weren't. I had to do the old switcheroo from Savon's channel to here because he was live on 2 different streams for some reason, and I had to come over here, so I did. That's why. But anyway, I'm gonna go now. Have a lovely day, everyone. I hope you enjoy life. And I won't be on tomorrow, I don't think. Maybe on with Yoni Boy tomorrow night, but I'm definitely not on in the day because I've got my very busy day of 60 plus class. So thank you all for joining me. It's been emotional, and I hope you have a lovely day. Thanks very much, everyone. Bye for now. Bye for now. Bye, everyone. Bye.